Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day. I am Madam Rose Azino di Cik Lamin. Today we are going to continue our lecture. Today we are going to talk about on cell metabolism. At the end of the lecture, students should be able to discuss the cell metabolism, to explain the law of thermodynamics, to describe the metabolic reaction and metabolic pathway, and also to describe the mechanism of enzymatic reaction. First of all, do you know what is the energy? Energy is a capacity to do work, which is a form of energy, potential energy, kinetic energy, and also chemical energy. Energy input become coupled to energy requiring process. Cells use energy for chemical work, electrochemical work, and also mechanical work. First, we look at law of thermodynamics. For the first law of thermodynamics, means that energy can undergo conversion from one form to another, but it cannot be created or be destroyed. And also, the total amount of energy in the universe remains constant. While the second law of thermodynamics, energy cannot be changed from one form to another without loss of usable energy. And the total amount of energy is flowing from high energy form to lower energy form. And it also can make the entropy tends to increase. What's the meaning of the entropy? Entropy is the measure of the degree of disorder in a system. Let's say the system has more entropy, means that the system is more stable, less organized, and also less potential energy. When the system says that has a less entropy, means that it is less stable, but more organized and more and have more potential energy. Okay, this is the one-way flow of energy. For example, in the universe, the sun is a primary energy source, which can produce a trapped energy from the sun and convert it into a chemical bonding energy. And all organisms use the energy stored in the bond of organic compound to do work. Energy in and out, what happens here for chemical reaction, it needs reactant and also it can produce the product, which is molecule out. There are two types of a chemical reaction. First is the endergonic reaction. Second is the exergonic reaction. Endergonic reaction is a energy requiring, such as, for example, here is a photosynthesis, while the exergonic reaction is energy releasing. For example, is a aerobic respiration. For endergonic reaction, here energy input is required and it also produces a product which has energy more than the starting substance. For example, for this illustration here, this is a molecule, two simple molecules combined together which can produce end of product which can produce more energy, but this process require energy to produce a high end product. For the exergonic reaction, energy is released, but the product has less energy than the substance, starting substance. For example, here, such as here, this is a very big molecule. Okay, this molecule has been break down into a simple molecule, but energy is released out.
Ini mah sepi banget.
And the raw ATP for the metabolic reaction, cells earn ATP in exergonic reaction, while cells spend ATP in the endergonic reaction. This term that you have to remember. Okay, what is a ATP? ATP is the adenine triphosphate, which is main energy carrier between cell reaction sites. Can be produced by the ADP-ATP cycle. The process involved of the phosphorylation. The phosphate group transfer to and from the ATP, couple metabolic reaction that release usable energy to metabolic reaction. Okay, for the ATP-ADP cycle, when the adenosine triphosphate or ATP give up a phosphate group, adenosine diphosphate will be formed. ATP can reform when the ADP binds to inorganic phosphate or to a phosphate group that was split from a different molecule. Regenerating ATP by this ADP-ATP cycle help drive most metabolic reaction. Here, this is ATP. Okay, when the phosphate has been given up, okay, so this reaction requires the energy. So it lost one phosphate to produce ADP and back to produce ATP from the ADP. Okay, ADP need to bind with the phosphate. So this reaction will release the energy again. So this is a cycle of the ATP-ADP. Now we move to the cell metabolism. What is metabolism? Cell metabolism is a cell capacity to acquire energy and use it to build, to degrade, to store and release substances in controlled way. It is a complete set of chemical reactions that occur in a living cells and for the basis of life, allowing cells to grow and reproduce, maintain their structure and respond to the environment. Basically, there are few elements that needed in a metabolic reaction. First, we need a reactant, intermediate, products, energy carrier, enzyme, cofactor and also the transport protein. Now we move to the chemical equilibrium. I'm sure that you have learned it in chemistry. At the equilibrium, the energy in the reactant equals that in the product. The product and reactant molecules usually differ in energy content. Therefore, at equilibrium, the amount of reactant almost never equal the amount of the product. Okay, this is the illustration for the chemical equilibrium. Next, we move to the redox reaction. The cell release energy efficiently by electron transfer or oxidation reduction reaction, what we call as a redox reaction. So here, when the molecule loss of the electron, so the process of oxidation happen. When the molecules receive the electron, the reduction will happen. And also, it can be caused by the bonding of the hydrogen. When the hydrogen atom are commonly released at the same time, thus it can become oxidized like here. This molecule loss of the hydrogen, so it become oxidized. So when this molecule, oxygen molecule, receive the hydrogen, or this is a reduction process happen. In metabolism, also will involve the electron transfer chain. What is electron transfer chain?
Det är inte roligt längre.
Electron transfer chain is a series of electron carriers that pass electron from one to the other. It is arrangement of enzyme, coenzyme at the same membrane. As a molecule is oxidized, then the next is reduced, and it really important function in aerobic respiration and also in photosynthesis. Here is the example of the control energy release, which is need a few steps, okay, before the energy is released. Here, for example, need 1, 2, 3, 4 steps before the energy is released in a controlled way. Alright, we take a break. We continue later.